everyone, this is Cube Show here. And yeah, this is going to be part 4 to What If Deku had Meliodis' assault form. Now, this was originally going to be a collab with another YouTuber, Mitsuki. I believe that's how you say his name, but he went on a hiatus and he will not be coming back to YouTube for about a month or so. He said that whenever I was talking to him that he was having a lot of stress with school and a lot of stuff in his life. So he's taking a break. Now, people do really like this what if, so I asked him if he would like me to finish it. Because I made part 3 the other day, and I wasn't aware of his hiatus, I just didn't realize that he went on it. I've been a bit too busy with my last few weeks, like the last week with work, that I haven't really had time to check YouTube properly. So, I've just been recording. Now, because of that, I'm going to be finishing this and hopefully start on another series. Now, the microphone might sound different. That is because this is my gaming microphone for my Xbox. I hope this audio sounds good because I'm basically holding one of these giant earpieces like a microphone and speaking directly into it. Now then, we last left off with Deku being told by Recovery Girl that he has more than one heart. That his darkness seems to... I love how when I start recording, my nose starts acting up. That it seems like his quirk works by this method. That your quirk is categorized as a mutation quirk. Because not only does it give you 7 hearts, but these are essentially activated by a chemical your body produces. That whenever you become angry, your body starts producing a chemical in your brain. And whenever these chemicals react with the ones in your heart, they produce more and more of this chemical. Now, because his body has 7 hearts, this is the reason why it becomes so powerful. That the angrier he gets, the more he produces this darkness. Now, because of that, she would explain that because one of your hearts were damaged, it basically flooded your system with this chemical because of how angry you got. And because you thought you were on the brink of death. Now, you essentially patched a hole in it, but I repaired it fully. So you now have this scar. Deku would then get up and look at his chest and realize he has a scar on it. Everyone would walk in. This is whenever Ochako and a lot of the students would actually comment that Deku has a scar on his back. Is that from the villain? He would then turn it around and they would see the other side. A lot of people would start screaming, realizing that that's the entire scar. Now, this is whenever Hiroshima, Ida, and Ochako, along with Froppy, and everyone else, besides Todoroki and Bakugo, would comment that Deku actually was being pretty villainous against the villain. Sue would then ask Midoriya why was that. Very bluntly, he would say that apparently he lost control of his quirk. Now, because of this, they would then be told by Aizawa, who is trying not to cry in his sleeping bag, that they are going to be having a 2-week shutdown for the school because of the sports festival. And the sports festival is going to be in 2 weeks, but also they are shutting down the school to investigate the villain attack. And during this time, Deku would actually try and find out more information about his quirk. Now, aside from what I just explained, this is the only information you'd be able to find on it. That this chemical his brain produces, it's the exact chemical makeup, the exact chemical your body would secrete for anger. And that's all he would ever find on it. So he would just have to get angrier and angrier trying to control his power. Now, in doing so, Deku would then be approached by All Might and asked if he would like to take One for All. Deku, I think I already had All Might offer it to him, but if not, this is whenever he would offer, Deku would reject it, saying that he should probably give it to someone else. He would ask who, Deku would say maybe Bakugo, Todoroki, and probably some... He thinks that... He doesn't really know who he should give it to, but he'll tell him whenever he figures it out. Now. Okay. Anyways, this is whenever All Might would just see about trying to find a worthy candidate. And the sports festival would begin. Now, Deku, he would be approached by Todoroki, and Todoroki would tell him that I am going to beat you even with your quirk. You might be strong, but I will only beat you with half of my power. Now, Deku would start laughing at Todoroki, and it's like a whole, funny laugh. Then it switches from, yes, Todoroki, you might only use half of your power, but I'm only going to use 20% of mine. And if you think that 50% of yours is going to be enough to beat me, then you are dead wrong. You might be the son of the number 2 hero, but that doesn't mean anything. If anything, I could probably take out your father in 2 seconds. And probably take on All Might. Now, do you want to say that again? He would then smile at Todoroki and walk away. Todoroki is left there, trying not to piss himself. Now, this is whenever they would all start the race. Todoroki would actually blast ice so much around the area that not a lot of people can get through. The only people who get through are Bakugo, Deku, Kirishima from just smashing his way through, Ochako, and Momo. The Laser Boy, I'm pretty sure I kicked out of 1A, because that boy disgusts me. I really do not like his quirk, because he is a great value version of Iron Man. Now, let's see. Deku would immediately go into this mode, but is covering his neck also. And he would then destroy all the robots and then win the race in less than a minute. President Mike would say that that is quite impressive, but it's quite scary because Deku's face, his expression did not change at all, or even flinch. Now, after that, Aizawa would then say, President Mike would ask for more information about Deku's quirk. Aizawa would just tell him that kid scares me. President Mike, being keen to hear what he means by that, would say, what does he mean? He would explain that kid, he thought, got murdered during the USJ attack. President Mike would immediately jump from the seat saying that that's horrible, what happened? This is whenever he would explain that apparently Midoriya has the way his quirk works is he would give the explanation and then say that that is how his quirk works, but his body, well, he did not know that he had more than one heart. And the fact that he went into shock while producing this chemical did not help either. So he would then put up a picture on the giant screen of Deku with the hole or the scar on his chest and his back. And while this was all happening, he gives the explanation that Deku took down most of the villains and actually brutally ripped apart and killed the monster that did that to him, along with taking down over 100 villains and putting their leader in immense pain and breaking a couple of his limbs. But it really wasn't his fault because he apparently lost control of his quirk from having one of his hearts damaged. Now, people would be looking at Deku, and as soon as he turns his head and puts that mark on his face, he has that look on his face. He'd give them a smirk, and they would all immediately just look away from him. Now, whenever that does happen, Ochako, Froppy, and Mei Hatsume would actually approach Deku. They would all try and be on his team. Deku would accept this because people aren't really avoiding being on his team because of the. But anyways, they are on his team and people keep avoiding Deku because he is essentially carrying all of them in one of his giant hands. He's actually like Mei is trying to keep up with him, but Froppy basically has Mei. She uses her tongue to tie Mei and Deku together, while Deku carries her and Ochako. And he's actually defending off a lot of people with one arm. Now, whenever Deku does do this, he would immediately look over to Todoroki and then focus back on who he's fighting. Bakugo would actually have tried to attack Deku, but as soon as he launches himself at Deku, he would immediately try blasting an explosion to his left and try and swing around Deku to try and steal the headband from Ochako, because she's actually on his back. Now, as soon as he did that, Deku would have immediately swung back one of his legs, grabbing Bakugo with the... where is it? With a claw like that, and immediately just smash him back at his team. He would have done that in one flawless move and just thrown him back at Kirishima. Now, as soon as he did that, they're trying to like scold Deku for doing that and showing off quite a bit of his power. But Deku is just not reacting at all. A lot of the people that attack him actually just see this blank stare in his face. Now, after that, this is whenever the battles would begin. Now then. The battles would go somewhat similar in canon, but they are gonna be lined up differently. Now, what I mean by lined up differently is, let's see, Sparkly. I don't know if I've already used my one word for this to be PG-13, but I'm not gonna say it. Sparkly, he's not in here, so that means I can put Frobby in here. And Yeah, okay. All of Deku's team actually is in the battles then. Okay. Now, let's see. Deku versus Shinsho. Deku would have responded. Shinsho would actually brainwash him, and right before Deku walks out of the ring, he is immediately engulfed in his darkness on his forehead, and he would turn around, walking towards Shinsho. He would then try responding to Deku by just screaming things at him, and Deku would just keep walking towards him, and immediately just lift up his hand, forming a giant hand, grabbing him and throwing him out of the ring. Now, after that, he is shaking and trying not to cry. So, anyways, that's just called Tuesday. Now then, Todoroki versus Sero, same thing. Kmoneysk versus. Oh crap! We don't have name. I need to find the class sheet for that class 1B. No, that would go the same. Mei versus Ida. Advertisement. Even in anime, you cannot escape it. Now, Mina versus Froppy. Froppy would eventually probably. She has more. I want to say she's faster because Mina uses her slime to slide a lot, so Froppy would eventually win. Although she'd probably get a couple burn marks on her tongue or her body. Immediately gets healed by Recovery Girl. Now, no. Wrong what if. Momo versus Tokiyami. Tokiyami would win. Tetsu versus Kirishima. Kirishima. I don't know if that's his actual name, but it's the running gag. Now, that would go exactly the same with them tying and having to arm wrestle. Did I just hear a whistle? Okay, that's weird. I legit thought I heard like a soccer coach whistle. I'm confused. Anyways, Ochako versus Bakugo. This would actually go a bit different than in canon, with Bakugo actually trying not to hurt Ochako, but he would actually just blast her out of the ring. Now, after that, it's Bakugo. No, not Bakugo. It's. I almost said Midoriya. I thought I was going to say something wrong. It's Deku versus Todoroki. Todoroki would just be blasting Deku with ice over and over again, and Deku would just immediately just clap this back at him and just punch it away from him. Everyone is watching, and then Deku, he would immediately just. Hang on for a minute. Now then. Anyway, Todoroki would have been blasting with ice, and Deku would just gone into his regular assault mode, his first level 1 to level 2, which is basically the mark would cover more of his forehead. Deku would then tell Todoroki that this is only stage 2, and stage 3 and 4, he doesn't even need to bring those out to beat him. Todoroki would say that that's insulting, that you're not using your full power. Deku would just say that's the pot calling the kettle black. Todoroki, this being an insult would actually burn more than the hot water, but yeah, anyways. Todoroki would say that because he never really explained to Deku about his scar, he never got that far. He would say that Deku is insulting him, and that's not really something heroic to do. Deku would say neither is holding back your full power. Now, fight me at your fullest. So throwing sore. Anyways, now then, after that, Deku would tell Todoroki that he'll give him the courtesy and he'll use his higher stages if he uses his fire. Todoroki would reject this, and then Deku would immediately just smash through Todoroki's defense with his ice, and immediately come up to him and grab him by the face, saying that he doesn't have much of a choice here because he wasn't asking, he was telling him to. He would then throw him to the other side of the ring where Todoroki would put a wall behind him. He would then start lighting himself on fire and burst into flames. Deku would just start smiling and say that, finally, now you're finally starting to try. He would then pop his knuckles as he would get into this mode, which is basically a mix between his stage 2 and stage 3. He would then create the giant hands while this mode is actually starting to come more around his torso and begin fighting with Todoroki. Now then, after that, Deku would immediately just overpower Todoroki in the ring. And I don't know what they call the move Todoroki does in the ring where he uses both sides of his power, but I want to say you can probably call that move Absolute Zero, since you're basically having half hot, which is maximum heat, and half cold, which is maximum cold, combined together, and not expect that to explode. But anyways, that would happen, and Todoroki would be blasted out of the ring, while Deku is still standing there, just with a lot of burned clothes. And he actually only has this part of his uniform remaining, along with one of his pant legs. Everything above that was burned off. Now, a lot of the heroes really want to cheer this on, but they don't even know if Todoroki's alive. Deku would say that he's not going to be able to continue because he's not even in the ring. Who would ask what he means by that? He would then just point up to the top of the stadium. They would see Todoroki just stuck in a wall. He would say that that was the only way to keep him from getting caught in the blast, even though he directed it toward me. Now, after that, Deku would walk out of the ring victorious. Anyways, I am pretty sure that is at 12, 2 minutes, 4 minutes. That's 18, so this is 22. So anyway, guys, I'm going to be finishing up this after work, or I'm going to try and record it right now, but recording today has not been fun. I have tried recording this 3 times, and I have ran into a lot of issues with my recording stopping, getting interrupted, and getting calls. Now, I'm just going to try and finish this up after work, so I am sorry that I'm leaving you guys on a cliffhanger. So, I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and catch you guys later.